to the V, up in the heezy. Making this crap always look easy. S to the V, telling you what it means. S to the V, better grab the dictionary. The idea for the film actually came into fruition when producer David Kirshner was sitting outside with his daughter one night and their neighbour's black cat strayed past. He made up a story about how the cat used to be a child but was transformed into an animal by 3 witches. Probably traumatising the poor child in the process.
Bad chance.
The script was written by Mick Garris and taken to Disney in 1984, originally being called Halloween House. Hugh Laurie as Michael Myers? Originally, the film was a lot darker and scarier, and the main characters were even going to be just 12 years old because the 80s didn't give a shit. It was also pitched to Amblin Entertainment, where Spielberg was working at the time, but he saw Disney as their competition and refused to work with them, leading to the script being altered. Adding comedy making the protagonists older, but these changes caused so many delays until 1992 when Bette Midler heard of the project and showed interest. Just her signing on immediately greenlit the entire movie's production.
Oh, great.
Bette Midler even said the movie was the most fun she had ever had in her entire career, and it's her favourite of any film she has ever starred in. And Leonardo DiCaprio was actually offered the part of Max, but had to turn it down so he could be wrongfully robbed of an Academy Award. The first time.
No.
Sarah Jessica Parker, who played one of the witches, was later researching her family history and ironically discovered that her 10th great-grandmother, Esther Elwell, was arrested in Salem, Massachusetts in the late 1600s for committing acts of witchcraft and even choking a neighbor to death. Her case did, however, never go to court and she managed to escape with her life, but this really shocked Parker, who admitted that it changed everything she ever thought about who she and her family were.
You idiot!
Originally, the film received mixed thoughts, critics finding the comedy intolerable and its silliness just overwhelming and the story uninteresting. However, over the years, it's gained a huge cult following, to the point that passionate fans have shown their demand for a sequel, as has the cast, and Disney literally said, nah, we'll reboot it instead with a completely different cast. Thanks, Disney! Fuck you.
I get the picture.
Kathy Najimy also originally wasn't actually sure that she should take on the role in fear of offending real witches. I think you need to have a talk with your parents. Tim Allen, don't do the Santa Claus! You might offend the real Santa.
Okay.
Okay, this is a cliche opening, but it's always cool, so I don't really care. In 1693 in Salem, 3 witches, the Sanderson sisters, played by Midler, Parker, and Najimy, brutally murder a young girl and use her youth to turn themselves young again. Even though the Salem witch trials ended in 1692, but you know, details.
Aha!
Until the girl's brother Thackeray shows up, played by Sean Murray. However, he costs the witches their plan of killing the children in Salem, but they do manage to turn him into a cat instead, just as the villagers show up and hang the bitches. This is a Disney film, with 4 horrific deaths in the first 10 minutes, one of them being a child. I love the 90s, they just didn't care. How was this not dark enough? Fast forward to 1993, and this guy called Max, played by Omri Katz, gets a crush on a girl called Allison, played by Vanessa Shaw. Unfortunately, he has a really annoying sister who everyone would want to bang in the future after American Beauty, Danny, played by Thora Birch. He also gets bullied by Larry from Buffy and some other guy, but they check out the abandoned Sanderson witch's house before Max lights a candle to release them.
Legend says that on a full moon it will raise the spirits of the dead when lit by a virgin on Halloween night.
What are the odds of that ever happening? And the witches are back in town, but only for 24 hours unless they kill all the children in Salem and finish what they started, leading to the group of kids on a mission to stop them. I love the whole style of the film. The set of the old house just has that undeniable 90s charm to it.
Open up your mouth.
No!
Oh boy!
Oh hey, it's a movie theatre during the screening of Ghostbusters 2016.
My ungodly book speaks to you. One All Hallows Eve when the moon is around, a virgin will summon us from under the ground.
Ah yes, I should probably mention, a rather less attractive critic shat on this movie and claimed that it rammed it down our throats that Max is a 13-year-old virgin, like it was that big a deal. The movie not once actually specifies his age. It never says he's 13. I mean, he clearly looks about 15.
Do you guys want some cider?
No.
Sure.
See, he even has a cider. But even if he was 13, they don't even mention the virgin thing that many times. Here's a montage.
A virgin will summon us.
When lit by a virgin.
Virgin. And he's a virgin.
Some airhead virgin might light that candle.
Brave little virgin.
For a virgin to light a candle.
Are you a virgin?
Okay, that was funny. But you see what I mean? In an hour and a half, that's not really overkill. But why do all teenagers in American movies in the 80s and 90s have enormous ass bedrooms? I was lucky to get a box room. It even has an upstairs balcony. What the hell?
Max, I'm not going up there. My friends at school told me all about that place. It's weird.
Meanwhile, 20 seconds ago...
Oh, you mean the Sanderson sisters? I know all about them. My mom used to run the museum.
There's a museum about it?
And despite being abandoned for years, it somehow still has working electricity. The effects of the magic may be a bit dated now and hasn't aged particularly well, but hey, that's exactly what makes it so charming. And the comedy is hilarious.
You mess with the great and powerful Max, and now must suffer the consequences. I summon the burning rain of death.
Burning rain of death.
He makes fire in his hand.
I'm gonna continue using this word for the entire review, but charming is the best way to describe it.
'Tis a black river. Perhaps it is not too deep. 'Tis firm.
Careful, Winnie.
'Tis firm as stone.
Why, it's a road.
This is great! But how the hell can't these firefighters see them hiding?
Who are they?
Boys,
Witch hunters. Observe, they wear black robes and carry axes to chop the wood to burn us.
Who gives a shit?
it's just a bunch of hocus pocus.
How do you know he said that? He said that before he lit the candle.
Well, come on, it's just a bunch of hocus pocus.
What is this contraption?
I call it a bus.
A bus. And its purpose?
To convey gorgeous creatures such as yourselves to your most forbidden desires.
Well, Nancy, we desire children.
Hey, that may take me a couple of tries, but I don't think that'd be a problem.
Well, there's a joke that went over my head as a kid. Right, so here's the thing. Right at the start, Thackeray tries to reach his parents but just meows and doesn't talk. Now, apparently this is because he can't talk unless the candle is lit. I mean, that's never really explained in the movie, but I guess that makes sense and it's self-explanatory. But now, Max and Danny try to convince their parents, and once again, Thackeray doesn't talk, so they just don't believe them. And this is never explained. Some have said that he can only talk around the one who lit the candle, but that's Max, and he talks to Danny and Allison fine. Unless it's because they were also in the room. But the movie never explains that. All it took was one of them to say, "Hey yo Binks, why you no talk, bruv?" It's something simple and they just avoid it.
Party pooper.
They expose the witches, but of course everyone believes it's part of the show. However, they then sing a spell to entrance everybody and somehow the kids just aren't affected. And you'd think, considering they're on a time limit, they wouldn't really waste this much time on a damn song. Who cares? It's really funny and so entertaining. And they head to the high school, somehow knowing the witches would find them there. They literally just show up by chance somehow. And remember, this is the child-friendly version where the witches get burned alive. Oh, that's the fountain where they shoot the opening credits of Friends.
We did it, Binks.
Also, why didn't you talk to my parents to convince them we're not crazy, you asshole? But how exactly do the witches survive being burned alive? I mean, they were hanged and died. They didn't set a curse up this time. And if they could smell them all the way to the school, why can't they now do it to their home? Who cares? The witches fly away on a normal broom, a mop, and even a vacuum cleaner. This is genius. But it really is so intense as the kids go through the spell book and we see the witches quickly approaching their house. Just close the goddamn book! Wait, why does it now shoot magic but it didn't before? Oh well, it really is heartbreaking to see Danny get captured and taken away, as you've spent so long growing to like her and the connection she has with almost every other character so far. Then Sarah Jessica Parker continues to entrance people with her song, but somehow doesn't affect Max or Allison. Oh, and Buffy literally ripped this off. Check it out.
And there's one thing that I know that you don't.
And what is that, dude?
Daylight savings time.
Daylight savings time.
There's something you forgot about too. Sunrise.
There's a whole lot of back and forth with Danny being stolen or the book, but it manages to keep you on edge the entire time as their time limit begins to near.
Hello there. Let me see your driver's permit.
Doesn't know what a lighter is, but knows what a driver's permit is. By the way, these are real moths in Doug Jones's mouth. Dude's a legend. But it really is quite scary as they chase Max in the graveyard. It may have a lot of comedy, but the serious moments are really dark and quite scary.
Go to hell. Oh, I've been there, thank you. I found it quite lovely.
And that's one of my favourite lines in movie history. But once the witches have been defeated, all of their spells are broken, yet Billy Doug Jones here is still somehow alive. That doesn't make sense.
You saved my life.
Well, I had to. I'm your big brother.
Oh, so Thackeray was a shit brother. Is that what you're saying? Okay, so weirdly, Thackeray is played by Sean Murray, but when he turns into a cat, he's voiced by Jason Marsden. Yeah, Goofy's son, Max himself. But why? Murray already sounded an awful lot like Marsden. I really don't understand why they needed a different voice actor.
Oh, look. Another glorious morning. Makes me sick.
Bette Midler truly is my spirit animal. Also, Thackeray does look an awful lot like a young Leo. No wonder he was nearly cast. Also, it may be another cliche to have one genius villain with two dumbass sidekicks that always embarrass them and ruin their plans, but I really don't care. These three are an absolute blast to watch.
I smell a child. Yeah, what dost thou call that? A child?
But I must ask, why do they even need potions when they can clearly use magic with the bare hands anyway?
Let's brew another batch.
You hag! There are not enough children in the world to make thee young and beautiful.
Ooh, thou burneth! But the villagers clearly knew about the witches, so why the hell didn't they ever try and do anything about them sooner?
I will ask thee one final time.
Yes?
What hast thou done with my son, Thackeray?
Thackeray.
Answer me!
Well, I don't know. Cat's got my tongue.
Who cares, my kind of movie. And if they can use magic with their bare hands, why can't they prevent themselves from being hung?
You do realise that you were incorrectly using the term hung. The verb hung is correctly used for inanimate objects or my penis. However, when regarding human beings, the verb is then altered to hanged. They are hanged to death.
Okay, if they can use magic with their bare hands, why can't they stop themselves from being hanged?
Yes, that is better.
Max is almost instantly a likable character. Well, other than the fact that he hates Halloween at first. Blasphemy!
But everyone here knows that Halloween was invented by the candy companies.
And the pagans.
It just so happens that Halloween is based on the ancient feast called All Hallows Eve.
Oh yeah, that too. But then Max just casually asks for a number. He is so smooth and cool. But then she gives him the number back. She completely rejected his ass, and yet she was still smooth and charming about it. How'd she do that?
This is ice.
This is so 90s and I love it. And he gets mugged, and it isn't set in New York. Points for originality.
Hey, Max! Hey, how was school?
Sucked.
Hey, watch your language.
Fucking potty mouth cunt. Oh, and then Max pretends his pillow is Allison.
Oh, Allison. You're so soft.
You will like him, I swear. It's a common cliche back then, okay?
You're gonna take me trick-or-treating.
Not this year, Danny.
Mom said you have to.
Well, she can take you.
She and Dad are going to the party at Town Hall.
Well, you're 8. Go by yourself.
And get a job while you're at it. By the way, there is no way that she is 8. Piss off.
What about you, Max? What are you supposed to be?
A rap singer.
Really? Mate, it'll take about another 6 years before you're accepted. Sorry. Oh, and the bullies seem to be the only bullies in the entire town. Their only personality trait is to be an asshole and make sure they're not late for picking on someone. But Max's sister Danny is not only adorable, but she's a bit of a badass. She stands up to the bullies and everything. She has no fear.
Whoa, I love the costume.
Yeah.
But what are you supposed to be? A new kid on the block?
God, I miss the 90s. It is a bit strange though. The bullies are just harassing people for candy. That's seriously all they're after?
Hey! You just humiliated me in front of half the guys at school.
That was half the guys at your school? How small is your school? But as they tease each other, it's standard sibling stuff. They have a lot of chemistry and it's really sweet when they make up. As the film progresses, you can sense their closeness as they constantly protect each other. The return of the witches is actually amazing. It is so cool. But how the hell do they not see Max when the door opens? And Danny even stands up to the damn witches. She has no fear and is such a likable character. And legendary Doug Jones is just a legendary zombie. This film really went all out. Oh, and Thackeray gets hit by a bus just to tease your heartstrings later. But the witches freak out at the sight of all the costumes and it's hilarious.
What are those? What's that? Who's that? The hobgoblin. Oh.
Bless you.
Come on, this is brilliant. And then they think Satan is the real Satan. Oh, and his wife in the movie is his real life sister. Bit weird.
How bad can it be?
But he plays along with their costumes while they're weirded out by his home.
Behold, a torture chamber.
I love this movie! As the film progresses, Thackeray and Danny grow close and they share a close bond, but here it's actually Max who relates with him. Thackeray misses his sister and just advises Max to keep Danny as close as possible. It's a really sweet scene. Oh, and of course the bullies are still out at 3 AM being dickheads. It's all they do.
It's 5 o'clock. My parents are gonna kill me. I should go.
I wish you could stay.
You've known each other a day. I mean, they are cute together, but come on, they've fallen quicker than Owen Hart.
Mom? Dad? Still not home? That's weird. Must be having a great time.
Okay, who the hell doesn't suspect something when their parents are out all night?
Yo, dude, you should have been there last night. We stayed up till like 4 AM. We were total vampires.
But much like the little bitch from the Ewoks movies, Max gives no shits and literally abandons the bullies and leaves them to possibly die. Just what I was liking you asshole. We even have the evil big bad villains crying over being called ugly. This film is magnificent.
You know, I always wanted a child, and now I think I'll have one. Toast!
Jesus Christ! Anytime Danny is in danger, you really want her to survive. She is so likable, as is Max, who even ends up sacrificing himself for her. Then Thackeray is injured, but no, he can't die, remember? Whoop! Let's fuck with your feelings a bit more. He's dead!
Row, row, row your boat.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, merrily, merrily.
Even the closing credit scenes are hilarious, and they tease a sequel. This film is amazing. The comedy is hilarious. The witches steal the show, but the kids are entertaining as hell too. You grow to buy their closeness and root for their survival. It has genuinely dark and scary moments and never a dull scene. Many times you're on the edge of your seat, and although some parts haven't really aged very well and it may come across as cheesy and dated, it still holds up as a wonderfully charming Halloween story. So, what the...